So when you are adopting the design first approach, what are the tools you can expect to use, especially if you are using Spring or Java, you are in the Java community? You can expect to use OpenAPI Generator. You can expect to use Swagger CodeGen. So Swagger CodeGen is driven by SmartBear, while OpenAPI Generator is driven by the community. More than 40 top contributors and template creators of Swagger CodeGen have joined OpenAPI Generator as the founding team members. For more details, you can check online. So Swagger is a trademark owned by SmartBear. So you can also use Swagger UI, which you will see when we proceed with the practical. So the points to consider: auto-generated stubs or code stubs by OpenAPI Generator library, follow code standards, constrained by library creators. So you can be sure that the code that is generated, it follows the industry code standards. So in the Spring Boot project, what are the dependencies that you need? The most essential ones are this ones here and this one here. But you will still need a visual representation of the specification, which is why this one becomes, important. So you have the OpenAPI tools, as you can see here. The version has been specified in the properties. Then you have OpenAPI Generator, you have Jackson Bind Nullable. Then you have the plugin for it. So this plugin is basically used to tell the library how to generate code for you based on the specification. So as you can see here, we are referencing the YML file, which is the specification document that shows us how our API looks like. Then this library will then help you to visualize this specification, in your real project. All right, so now we are getting into the project. So we are going to design a specification based on the following. So what we want to do, the first thing we want to do is we want to get a list of all employees. We want to search employees by name. We want to get single employee by ID. We want to search employee by province. We want to add employee. We want to edit. We want to delete. And all this we are going to specify in the documentation first, in the spec first. Then generate code using the OpenAPI tools plugin, which will then help us to write very little code, in our code base when we are now doing the implementation. As we saw with the with design first approach, code will be generated for you. And based on that code, you can now add your own enhancements to it, the way you want it to behave. So let's get into the code. All right, so I have this project here, which I'm gonna show you quickly. So I'm gonna show you, the POM file, and I'm gonna explain a few things before we could proceed. So this is the library I told you. So this library, if you run the Spring project, it will give you this. So it helps you to have this, this representation of your design, of your API specification. All right. Then we have this one, OpenAPI tools, OpenAPI Generator, which is going to generate the code. It also goes with this one. And then we have Mapstruct. So this one we are going to use it to map between objects that are coming into our application, map them to our entities. Okay, so we are going to use mapstruct for that and Lombok for generating boilerplate code. Alright, then this is just configuration for mapstruct and Lombok not to conflict with one another. Then this is the plugin I was talking about. This is the OpenAPI Generator Maven plugin. So this plugin, you use it to configure how you want the code generated from the specification. As you can see here, I am specifying the specification document, which is in the class path. This is the specification document. As you can see, so far we have just one method, which is get. Obviously this translates to a get mapping in the controller. Yes, so this is the only one I have. I just had to write it so that we do not have to waste time. And also I have written the objects for you, so that we try to minimize time. We have this employee and address, and this obviously resemble what we have as entity and entities that map to our database tables. All right, so having shown you that, also this is the URL for the API. As you can see, if I come here, this is the URL, localhost 8080 /API v1 employee. All right, so what else did I want to show you? Let me see. Okay, let me go back to Maven. All right, so the way I have configured this project is I'm using a delegate pattern, and you can actually read about how to configure this. I'm also using Spring Boot. I use tags, and then I'm telling the plugin to recognize these Lombok annotations and all that. Then I'm telling the where the plugin should put the generated controllers and the model. The model here represents what is in here in the schema. All right. Other than that, then I'm telling the framework, the plugin, that it should map offset datetime to local datetime, because that's what I'm using in my application. All right. And then I'm telling it that this is a Spring Boot project, so it knows how to generate the API specification based on Spring Boot. Then also I'm telling that it should suffix all the model names with DTO, so that my models and my entities will not clash. There is another way you can do this, or you can specify the prefix if you want. All right, so the first way to run this project, you will have to do Maven clean. You can do install, whatever you want, to generate the models and the control. Or you can, all right, let me not do that. So now that we have done Maven clean install, if you look at target, I want to show you something. In this package, this is the controllers. These controllers are not generated by us. Are not generated by us, yes. This code was generated by OpenAPI tools. It's not us who generated this code, as you can see. Even if I try to edit it, it will tell me that it's read only. All right. So then this is the controller, then the models. As you can see, address DTO, employee DTO. So now what you can see is that this actually worked, the suffixing. as I mentioned, that you normally do this when you want to differentiate between your entities and your models. All right. So I have the mappers here that I have created, where you map between the address and the address DTO, and also the employee entity and the employee DTO. All right. So now we have what we just need to do. Remember, if you don't use this OpenAPI, like if you don't code to the specification, what you will normally do here when you say employee controller, obviously you will remove this part, then you will have to say address controller, then request mapping. You will have to do this, then do whatever you want to do. But we have removed away the need to do that. You just create a service, and this service must implement this employee delegate, employee API delegate. So this employee API delegate is the one that I mentioned that it was generated for you here. Then you implement it and you override the method. All right. So the way this code is generated is highly configurable in your Maven plugin configurations. You can just tell the plugin how you want it to generate. But for now, I'm going to use the delegate pattern. So the way for us to see that when we hit this controller, that it actually goes to this service that we have implemented here. All right, so I'm going to put a breakpoint here quickly, and then I'm going to run this code. All right, so let me go to the Swagger UI, and then let's just hit this endpoint and see what happens. See, it comes here. So that means we were able to intercept. So that means this code works. The integration works fine. From here, you can now call your services, you can now call your repositories, whatever. But because this is for education purposes, I'm not going to have services. I'm just going to go directly to the repository. But in production, we shouldn't be doing that. So now that this works, I can basically, call my private employee repo. And I'm going to use Lombok to auto-wire that, all arguments constructor. Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say return response entity .off, .ok. Then in the body, what I'm going to do, because I have a mapper, I'm going to say employee mapper .instance .internals to DTO. So here I'm going to say employee .find all. Okay. All right, what is it saying here? Let's see. Okay, so what we need to do here is, because this method is get employees, so what we need then to do is to now return I want us to return this as a list, not as one employee. So the way we do that, obviously we need to check our API specification for it to return the number of employees, as opposed to just giving us just one. All right, so I'm just gonna do this quickly. So what we need to do here is, let me do this. I'm gonna stop this one. So we're gonna have to change the code here. So as you can see here, we are returning just one here, and we don't want that. So the way to tell the CodeGen to make it a list, we can say type And what is type? It's an array. Then we can say items. What are those items? So this is how we can do it. All right, so now that we have done this, what we will need to do is let's return a list here rather. But before we do that, obviously, because we have changed the spec, we need to generate the code from scratch. Okay, so I'm just gonna say maven compile. All right, so as you can see, the code now works. So if we look at this delegate, we will see that the cat employee now returns a list because it has been defined in the spec. So from here, you can already see that we are coding the project to the specification. The specification first, then the project after. So now that we have done this, I'm just gonna run the code. Okay, I'm not gonna run it in debug mode because we saw that it goes where we want it to go. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come here and let's see what we get. All right, see the data is coming back to us. All right, so I'm gonna use Postman rather. So as you can see, the data is coming back to us, and we didn't have to write lots of controllers, lots of code, and all that. All that has been delegated to the framework. So you can almost call that boilerplate code, because here we are just only concerned with what we are trying to do with our business logic. So as you can see here, it's a service, and we are calling the repository to give us all the employees. Then we are mapping those to the DTO. All right. So because this is not a mapstruct tutorial, you can learn how to use mapstruct. If you look at this is how I've defined mapstruct, and because obviously when you map from employee to employee DTO or the vice versa, you need address mapper. If you look at address mapper, also has the way we have defined. We map from address to address DTO, from address DTO to address. All right. So from our API design, we have implemented this, this first on the bullet point, which is getting list of all employees. But someone might say, I want to get the list of employees, by name, or I just want to search employees by name. And now what are we going to do? So that I do not waste time, I'm going to copy one of the let me just search here quickly. All right, so what I will do here is I'm gonna copy this. Let me copy this quickly. Yes. Then gonna adapt it to our own project. So I'm gonna duplicate this. I'm not going to follow the correct way of designing an API, so which means that you will have to follow. So I'm gonna just say search here, then obviously this is employee, the tag. So I forgot to mention the tag, you mention it here. It's like what the endpoint, it's like you are organizing your endpoints. All right, so name, search. I'm gonna replace this item with employee, all right, by name, and what we are still returning an array here, so we're gonna say employee, and the same has to come here. It's the same employee. All right, so here we're getting a list of employees. If you observe here, if I come here, let me close this, we still have one endpoint. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to compile this code, and I'm using Spring DevTools, which will obviously compile and run the code for us when there's changes. Okay, let's see if it has. All right, let's all right, so as you can see, the endpoint has been added. It's here. So if you run this endpoint, it will require you to put the name. All right, so far nothing happens. So what do I do next? So then I have to come to my own controller and override that method. All right, so I'm gonna override that method is find employees. It's here, as you can see. All right, so what do I do? Same thing, just come here, and then this time around I'm going to say find by, I can say first name, name. All right, so let's run this code and see what comes to us. All right, so okay, so I can say name here is John. I know we have 3 Johns in the database. Let's see, we have 3. Yes, we have 3. So I can also take this and run it in my Postman, which I normally like to do. Let me just duplicate this guy here. I can call this one search. All right, then, so another thing I forgot to mention is that this code will be available on the GitHub repo. As you can see, now we have employees by name. All right, so let's check the other one. We want to get single employee by ID. All right, so what we can then do is we go, obviously we have to change the specification first. All right, so what I will do is I can also duplicate this again, and then here I can say ID. All right, then here it's ID, and this ID obviously must be an int. All right, so this is how we specify that. The type here must be an int. You can say int 64 if you want. Okay, is it int or integer? Okay, I think it's, let's try integer. Yes, it's integer. Then the format, you can say int. All right, 64. Okay, so here find employee. So what I normally like is the operation ID translates into a method name. So here we should have said find employee by name. All right, and then yes, and then here it's by ID, and is integer, and the other one is a string. Okay, so what we need to do then is to compile again. So when we compile, we are generating the new specification. We are generating the code that corresponds to the specification. So this has to be an error because the method name has changed. So here we just have to say by name. All right, so it has to be find employees, not employee. So I'll have to come here and say find employees by find employee by ID. Then here it has to be find employees by name. All right, because there are many employees. Okay, so that is fine. The code is fine now. So here we are also going to need to override the newly created method in the specification by ID, and it passes an ID here. Alright, so what we did wrong here, because it's one employee, we need to remove this. I hope it's the one. No, it's not the one. So this is the one that we are interested in. Yes, so it's not an array, it's just one employee we are expecting from that method call. Okay, so what we need to do then is change this here just to 1. That should be fine. I'm just gonna copy and paste this code here, and what we wanna do here is find internal to we are mapping internal to DTO. So what we wanna do is dot internal to DTO. So we're gonna say employee repo dot find by ID. Okay, so it's a long. We can say long dot value of, and then let's give it ID. Does it work? Okay, or maybe we can say ID dot to long if there is a method like that. Okay, long value. Yes, long value. Why is it not working? Oh no, sorry, int value. My bad. So let's see why it's not working. The int value is not working. Let's see why. Okay, it's an optional. Alright, so what we can do is we can say or else. So or else throw. Let's say or else throw. So what we can then do here, we can say throw new not data not found. Data, if I have that, do I have not found? Okay, let me just say runtime exception. We can say employee not found. All right, let's run this code again. What now? Okay, let's do this. I don't know what the issue is. Let me compile again. Okay, sometimes this just needs you to compile your code and then it works. That's what I know with this CodeGen. So let's see. Probably have the third method here, get. Obviously it's here by ID. Okay, let's see. ID 1. We have the data is here. So I'm just gonna put it here quickly. Found by ID. Okay, there you go. Let's put the different ID 10. We see this person has many provinces, sorry, many addresses. You can have 13 as one address. All right. Okay, let's see what is next. We want to search employee by province. Okay, so this is going to be also a list of employees. So what we can do is, let's come to our code. If we want to search employees by province, so we go to the spec first. When get here, what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna copy this guy here. So as I said, I'm not interested in following the correct way of implementing the specification and the API, the way you implement your API design standards. I'm not following that. I'm just showing you province. Okay, province, find employees by province. Okay, province. Okay, still a list. All right, So you can compile the code. Okay, the code is done. So once we have compiled, I'm gonna override the method, and then as you can see, it's a province here, province. So I'm gonna copy this ones here. Okay, paste here, and find by addresses province container. So we're gonna put province here. So we're gonna run the code. Alright, so I'm gonna duplicate this one, going to be search province, and I'm gonna copy the URL, paste it here, and then here it's going to be province. Alright, so here we can say, let me just say Maseru, see what we get. Okay, it says not found. Okay, let's look at Harare, not found. Okay, let's see. Province, how is this implemented? Okay, find first 20 by address, province containing province. Okay, let's see in the database. There I have deepweaver here installed. Let's see. I hope I have. Okay, I think Harare is here. I wonder why it's not finding it. Let's specify Harare name. Oh, it must be province. My bad. Province. I hope I didn't get. Let me search it from here first. I'm just gonna. Okay. Let's see. Province. Harare. I think the issue is employees. Province equals to Harare. Okay, employees. Province. Alright, I see where the issue is. So this must go. Yes, so this is it, we have it. So let's go to the next one. We want to add an employee. Alright, so if we want to add what we want to do, I'm just gonna copy this also so that we don't have to spend much time. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna copy this from one of the projects. So what we wanna do here is we wanna paste it here. Okay, so because now we want to follow, not really follow, because already I'm not following. I'm just gonna paste it here. So we have a post now, employee. So we add employee. Alright, add employee. So employee. Alright. Okay, alright. Now that we have that, we can compile the code to generate the method. Then we can override that method. So let's override the method quickly. There it is, add employee. So here what we want to do is we are going to say employee repo dot save. So what are we saving? Employee. So what we do, we also have to do the mapping. We're gonna say employee mapper dot instance dot DTO to internal this time around, employee DTO. Alright, Then after we have done that, we can just say return response entity dot no content, or we can say created. I don't want to do much work. Obviously what I needed to do here, I need to return this URL, and then I should specify, you know, the URL of the newly created resource. But since the video is not about that, I can just skip it. So I'm gonna just say no content. What can I say is okay, just like this, build, yeah, 200. But the error response that I have to return here is, you know, is 201, which is created. All right, so let's run this code. So let's come here and check if the method has been added. As you can see, it's here, it's a post add employee. So if we come here, first name I can say OpenAPI Swagger. The address is Devon. Let me say Devon, South Africa. Okay, let me say execute. Alright, it has executed successfully. So let's search for OpenAPI. Okay, let's search for Devon here, because this one it's not finding. Oh, it has, I had an E, that's why I didn't find it. Devon, why is it not finding it? Okay, let's see if Devon is there in the database, but it should be there. There is Devon. Okay, so as you can see here, guys, this is null and it's not supposed to be null. That's why it's not finding it. So this basically means that my mappings are not right in the database. Okay, so yes, I know what is not right. So basically what I needed to do there, this is what I need to do. I need to link those two before I save them in a database. So basically here, although this logic should actually go into a service, what I need to do here is I need to say final employee Ian alright. Then what I need to do is I need to say the address. I need to say final address equals to okay, let me not do this here so that I avoid a long video. Let me go straight to the other part, which is the editing. Or maybe I shouldn't do the editing because it's almost similar to this one. The one that I can perhaps try is the delete. Okay, I'm gonna skip this one. Let me just go straight to the delete because of time. So if I want to create a delete, this is what I'm going to do quickly. Delete is a bit also simple to create. Obviously we start from the specification, then we okay, this is what we have. So here we have employee, then employee, okay, employee. All right, so this is a delete by ID. All right, so that should be fine. Okay, before I even run the code, I should compile it first to generate. Then after compiling it, okay, I should have just left this the way it was before, because I wanted to interrogate, but I saw that it will waste time and make our video to be long, which is what I want to avoid. And then delete employee. Okay, so what we want to do now is we're gonna say I'm gonna just say this one, it's obviously no content. Okay, no content. All right, so we're gonna say employee repo dot delete by ID and ID dot int value. This is what we want to do. So I want us to delete this is what I want us to delete. Where's the employee here? Okay, tables. I want us to delete, we can delete this employee here, 21. All right, so now that we have implemented this, let's run this again. Obviously it has to now appear in our documentation. The Swagger UI is here. Delete, and let's see, 21. We said we want to delete 21. Okay, why is it not showing? Let's see, is our specification correct? Delete parameters. Oh, I remember, it's parameters. I thought it's path, but it's path here, so it should appear in the path. All right, it's fine, I know what to do. So what we need to do here is I'm gonna duplicate this. So we're gonna say delete employee. So then what we do here is we delete employee. All right, then we say add ID 21. Okay, let's run the code and see. Not found, no resource found. Okay, let's see here, employee. All right, I know what to do. Because it's a path, it has to be like this. Not because if it's a request and we didn't make it a query parameter, we made it a path parameter. Okay, so we can actually confirm that. Let's just control click on this method to see. As you can see, it's a path variable, which is ID. All right, so that means this is the correct way of doing the delete. Okay, it's still not finding it. Let me see what I could have done wrong. Employees. Okay, let's see. Let me go back. Employees not found. Okay, 2021. Okay, so let me do this. I'm gonna try and run this in debug mode, and okay, let's put a breakpoint here and see if we are actually getting in here. I don't understand why this is not working. Yes, that means we are not getting in there. So let me do this quickly. Employees and ID, parameter ID. I wonder why it's not. Okay, let me check again in the specification. Parameter, the path. Okay, let me do this quickly. I don't understand why it's not working. Path. It's the same ID, but this is not how it should be. Not found. Okay, let me run this code again. Because I was surprised that this one is also not able to find the. Okay, so what I want to do is, let's change this to query. Okay, not path, and then let's see what this will give us. Okay, let's see how it looks like now. The query parameter. Okay, so let's do this. The long ID. Okay, let's run it again. Okay. No static resource API. Might find that is where the problem was. Can you imagine? Okay, so that's where I saw the problem was. So basically, this is where the problem was. We were able to change remove that forward slash here, and then it worked. So let's do this. I want us to go back. So that means, okay, before I even do that, let's make sure 21 is not there in the DB. Okay, let's see. 21 is still here. Okay, so that means it did not delete 21. Okay, let me see what could be the reason. Okay, I think now it's fine. Yes, 21 is gone. So I want us to change it back to path, and then let's compile again because we have done changes. Okay, so now that it's back to path, what I want to do is I want to leave it as 21, not found. Okay, let me put slash, still say not found. Okay, let me come back here. Something is not right with this path. Required path variable ID not found. Oh, I see the problem I'm making. So what I need to do, guys, is this. So what I need to do is this must be included in the path. All right. So the code that is generated is unable to map this because it's not in the path. So basically what I need to do here for this to work is I need to copy this, and I'm going to show you quickly. V1 employees, and I'm going to copy this, and then what I need to do then here is I'm going to have to do /, then I have to say ID, then this one will work. So I'm going to cancel this one. Alright, so let's compile. Okay, so now this one should work because now that path is mapped correctly in the path. Alright, so if I say 1, why is it not working? Okay, let me come back, check employee ID path. Okay, now it even has the ID because it was not finding it. I was expecting to receive an input parameter like this. Alright, so what I need to do is I need to remove this, and it should work. Yes, so now 1 and 2 must be removed from the DB. As you can see, they are gone. Yeah, so that is how you can do design first with Spring Boot. So thank you guys for taking your time to listen to code with me. I hope to see you in the next lesson or in the next presentation. I have some other presentations that are already in the pipeline, so I would also love to see you there. Please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment and let me know what you think. Thank you.